This podcast is on the second part of Chapter 13 on experiments. There aren't a lot of new ideas to cover here, but there are a few ideas I wanted to point out. The first is about adding more factors. The book talks about an experiment where there are two different watering types at three different levels of fertilizer. And the thing I want you to know is that you'd multiply the 2 and the 3 together and get 6 different treatments. So each watering type and fertilizer level, that combination gives us a treatment. So there are 6 treatments here, not 2 or 3. The next idea that is a pretty important idea is the idea about confounding. The book talks about a professor that changes the way he teaches during winter and the spring semesters and got much better reviews during his spring semester. Now, is that a result of his teaching differently? Is that a result of the weather, which that may have an effect? Is it a result of him having different students? Maybe. Okay, those are some confounding variables that we're not sure which of those or how much effect each of those had on his teaching reviews. Another example is the way I'm teaching AP statistics this year. I've changed the order of the units. I'm using a different method of teaching. I'm using a lot of peer instruction, videos. I'm using some different way of teaching this course. So when you do awesome on the AP exam, is it a result of changing the order of the units? Will it be the way I'm teaching it this year? I'm not sure how much effect those have on how well you'll do on the AP exam. If I was teaching multiple sections of AP statistics, I could vary that to see how much effect each would have, but I'm just teaching it all at the same time, and so those will be some confounding variables. Now that's related to the idea of a lurking variable. Okay, a lurking variable is where something is affecting both the explanatory and the response variable, and may make us think that one is causing the other to happen. Okay, that's different from a confounding variable in that a confounding variable typically doesn't affect the explanatory variable, only the response variable. So in the example from the book about the professor, the weather and the students aren't causing him to change his teaching style. That's independent of him changing his teaching style. Me, I'm using some different methods. That's separate from from how well you will do on the AP exam in the future. Okay, so a lurking variable affects both the explanatory and the response variable, whereas a confounding variable usually only affects the response variable. Okay, and those are some of the important ideas in this second part of chapter 13.